back to another video. As you can see, we are in the race shop. We have not been in here for a hot minute, but you guys liked the last couple Michael takeovers. You know, trying to keep you guys up to date and filled in with what's going on with the race truck, as Michael is just absolutely killing it in here, making progress. So that's what this video is going to be. We're going to take you guys through kind of what he's been working on and doing, and we'll catch up pretty much at the end with kind of the footage that has happened over the last, say, week or so. In other news, guys, check out some additions here in the race shop that we've been working on. We've got a sink. We've got a working sink and a parts washer with water and electric. It may not seem like a lot to most, but it's something that was never in here that took some time to kind of do that whole entire process. We've honestly been working on a lot of shop upgrades, not only in this shop, in the other one. But anyway, let's get on with the race footage. That's what you guys want to see. You want to see this man's beautiful face talking. Michael, are they going to see your face talking or just your voice? It's beautiful either way. So anyway, we'll catch up with you guys at the end of all of that footage.
Super excited about this sensor. So this is an infrared sensor. It's mounted to about the lowest part of the chassis. You can see the eye right there. And that is going to tell us the temperature of the track. We record the temperature of the track usually, but this will be nice because it'll be in the data right next to what the RPM is or what the boost is. Like it's just recorded. It's not just written down somewhere and have to track it all down and everything and put it together. So it's all in one. So you can see we have that facing just down. Along with the track temp sensor, we have the same sensor mounted up right here on the bedside, pointing towards the rear tire. So we'll be able to get tire temp along with track temp and use that as more tuning aids to help get this thing down the track. All right, moving back to the engine bay. Our job right now is to get these EGT sensors in. And as I've said before, I usually try and put the sensors in before I mount any of the manifold or pipes or whatever we're working on. But another way to do it is I have a piece of welding wire here, and I just put a little hook in it, and our goal is to put our sensor in here and not have too much in it, but have enough in there for the ECU to read, or for the gauge to read, or whatever you're working on. So I'll put a little hook on here, and then I hook it in there, and then as you can see these little marks, I marked our depth here. So I can take this over here, and this is basically what our marks are showing us. There's where our sensor is. This is where our sensor would be, and that's flush to the inside of the manifold. And then whatever you want to do there, if you want to add 3/8 or add 3/8 of intrusion inside the manifold, or maybe a half, or whatever floats your boat. But just another way to get that done. Hopefully that helps if you ever have to replace one of these sensors, any kind of pyro gauge or whatever you got going on. So that's how I do it. me take each one of these at our mark, and then we seated the compression fitting or the compression sleeve onto the thermocouple. So then we can just take this, throw it into the other half of the fitting and roll on. Just makes it easier, one less step. Just kind of do it off of the vehicle. We'll have to bend them up a little bit, try and make them look pretty, but yeah, that's what I was trying to explain. Just basically make all these set, make them all the same, and then easier when we get to here. All right, thermal's all bent up, kind of all on the same plane there. And I got them running down the adapter and then over to our box here. So number one is plugged in, so it's the correct length. And then another part of the puzzle here is these are sealed EGT sensor units. And I was talking to Cody over at Firepunk, and he got us hooked up with these. So these are like cut to length. So I'm gonna cut all these back because these are all such a different length here. I'm gonna cut all these back and then we'll make them all go to their hole. So we got 1 through 6 for our exhaust manifold, and then we'll have our other 2 from our wastegate pipes go to 7 and 8. All right, as you guys saw, we got EGT probes all done, and then we ran, or like 1 through 6 on the manifold. We ran 7 and 8 for our wastegate pipes that we did earlier. So for those wondering, that's 7 and 8. And then now we are gonna move back to the drive shaft speed sensor. Basically all we're trying to do is get RPM off the drive shaft. Here's our sensor. And then we have a magnetic tone ring right here that bolts to the yoke. So you can see all these little magnets in there. And then that'll be what reads off of this sensor, or what communicates with this sensor. So we'll get a little mount here made up for it. You guys saw me welding on it earlier, or just a second ago, I should say. This is just a Motion Raceworks sensor that we're gonna modify. It's not perfect for our application because we don't use a 1/2-inch sensor, but I ground a little bit here, and then I put a bushing here, welded it in, and then we'll drill this back out for our 3/8 sensor because we have a 3/8 24 sensor rather than what they use. What they use is a 1/2-inch. So we'll just modify that a little bit and get her on there. These are super important. This is the drag racing speedometer. So we're trying to find revolution of the drive shaft per the engine, so we can see transmission slip, see how quickly it's going up. Just a great tuning aid for getting this thing down the track. drive shaft speed sensor mounted on our Motion Race Works bracket that we modified a little bit. Put a bushing in there, got it all on there. Modified that nut a little bit, just made it a little narrower. So I don't know, just my thing, just a little like jam nut appearance. Loctited that on there, and then I set that to 30 thousandths clearance there. So we'll call that one done. Might seem like we're bouncing around a lot here, but our goal is to make sure and get anything with wires connected to it mounted and secured and in its home and where it is. So another thing that we came up with is our nitrous solenoids. So in the previous video we talked about this PMU. It's our fuses, it's our relays, it's everything all in one small unit. So with that being said, we do have some restrictions on how much amperage it can put out, which then leads us to our nitrous solenoids. So we were talking to the guys over at NX. You can see these have blue wires. Some of these have black wires. And we learned that the blue wire magnets, these are just magnets from here to here. These blue wire magnets actually pull like just a hair over 30 amps because we're running 16 volts. So the higher voltage, the higher the amperage. And then, which led us to these magnets that they offer. And these are a lower amperage magnet. So these are supposed to reduce that down to, they say at least 8 amps. I think that's on a 12 volt. So when we're messing with 16 volt, it's a little bit more. So everything's just a little bit more when you up the voltage, which then we have some spare units here. This is just it all together. This is just a spare one that we have. And then even more so for you guys getting into all this nitrous stuff, they've converted all the 375 solenoids to the same magnet with the black wire. So if you're running any of the blue wire stuff, you need to run a 30 amp fuse in it. These you can get down to 20. We don't have an alternator. We're running a PMU. Like we talked about before, we're separating some of our load out to other batteries, just trying to make everything ideal for lightweight and just everything communicating, working good together. And then if you really want to get into it, these magnets run a washer in here. So this will go under here, right here. And I get aluminum washers. They're just a little bit lighter than the steel ones that they come with. They do the job, they do the same thing. Just anybody out there really trying to save some weight. So yeah, just more stuff for you, but keep knocking this out. Here's the air temp sensor mounted up. I just took it's an 1/8 inch MPT. I just took a standard 1/8 inch MPT female and kind of ground it so the sensor would read as much as it could without being hidden in there at full length. Got that mocked up, or got that welded in, and then just saw me drilling some D holes over here. These are Ethernet hookups. It's what Motec uses for, like, say your OBD2. Just this is how you communicate to the ECU. This is how you communicate to the dash. So they are separate, but to program the dash, that one. To program the ECU, that one. So yeah, just standard Ethernet stuff. Pretty simple. Next up, we're gonna do shock travel sensors. These are just a linear sensor. Just kind of move around. You saw me welding on these pieces. These go like so. For you guys wondering, just put those in the lathe and kind of make a little shoulder there. And then these will sit on here real nice. Makes it a little easier to weld. Makes it centered. So these sensors will go as close to the shock as we can get them. And then we'll be able to have data of what it's doing going down the track. If we're having traction problems or try not to have too much weight go to the rear, keeping it towards the front, whatever we got to do, these will help us figure that out. So we'll get some mounts made and get them on here. Switching over to making some brake lines. We started off with just this coil of 3/16 stainless. It's usually just the easiest thing for me to find, and then I run it through this little fancy thing. It's literally made to like straighten lines. Just a Summit piece, nothing crazy. Made in Taiwan. There's a part number for some of you guys, and then we'll bend some stuff up, and then this is what I use to flare the ends too. So just something simple, little hand tool, nothing crazy, but getting all these bent up. And then I wanted to show you where it gets kind of tight here. I made this brake line so like this will go in its home, and then I mark it. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but I mark it and I put a line vertically and horizontally to kind of like line up the bend in there. So it's just really hard with a line this long. Like something short like this, not too bad. You can even make a couple of them if you had to, whatever. But this one's kind of, I wanted it to end in one piece, so had made this up, and then we'll match up our Sharpie marker lines and make one solid piece. Sorry, the battery died, but this is what I wanted to show you guys, was this piece. I was showing me making this piece. So with those lines lined up, and then I just duplicated over here to make these the same. So, and then that way we have one piece, no unions, all the way from one side to the other. So hope that makes sense.
There you have it. What a magnificent video, guys. I know this is getting like filmed kind of like pre and past tense. Hopefully that's not confusing you guys, but Michael just absolutely killing it out here. Absolutely killing it, my friend. Getting this thing just getting ready to put Derek Rose in the trailer. Just you know, I'm gonna start making stock of tissues at this point for Derek. You know, but it's getting real out here. It's getting so close we can taste it. But Michael's been absolutely killing it. Teamwork, just absolutely. We're in the big shop, you know, changing wheels and tires. Michael's in here making race truck dreams come true. But I have to let you guys know, you know, this little setup here, is this like all from Harbor Freight, pretty much? Michael the machinist just out here doing it with the Harbor Freight setup. You know, Harbor Freight, if you're listening, you know, we do use quite a bit of your stuff here. You know, feel free to reach out because this little mini lathe on it has been putting in work on some real custom things and stuff. Let's take a look. The one thing that was not shown at the end of the video, Michael, brake lines are complete now.
Yes.
Take a look at this.
We didn't show them the back one.
Yeah, we didn't show them the back one. Goodness gracious. Wow, just wow, absolutely wow. These things, super cool. Little holding devices for the brake lines. Absolutely, just top notch, sir, just top notch. So brake lines are completely done.
That's it.
You know, I was giving you the floor, man. I was giving you the floor. I was ready for you to take it and run, you know. Again, just kind of continuing on mounting all of the sensors for the Motec system, kind of getting that wrapped up. Again, just all of the little final details. Just take the time. But as you guys can see now, that Michael's doing such a fantastic job of filming. You can see all of the little details and why they might add up to take a little bit of time, but not only that, come out with, honestly, the highest quality. So that is important. You don't do this stuff every day. We're not trying to like redo everything. So these brake lines, as you guys can see, that one-piece brake line all the way over here. And this is before we even clean it up and they let me loose with a rattle can. You know, it's just going to be a beautiful thing.
Military spray painting.
It's just going to be a beautiful thing. Guys, did you let's just look at the detail. Would you look at the detail? Look at this line that comes down around here and goes up and around and underneath. And again, this will all be painted. Don't come at me or Michael, honestly, about the painting yet, okay? That's last. Got this brake line that comes up over here. Oh man. Whew. That's a beautiful thing. That is pretty much gonna wrap up this video, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Give Michael a big round of applause for these Michael takeovers, just really making sure you guys are up to date on the race truck, whether we are here, there, or wherever. So greatly appreciate it. Michael's killing it. We're gonna stay on the race truck. We will be out on the track, guaranteed, as soon as possible. So anyway, thank you guys. We'll see you in the next video. Give this video a big thumbs up before you leave. We'll see you in the next video. See ya.